Welcome back, dear friends, to our tranquil corner of the art world. Tonight, we embark on a journey unlike any other, a search for ghosts, not spirits, but vanished masterpieces that once graced palace walls, museum galleries, and private collections. These are paintings that disappeared into the void of history, leaving behind only photographs, descriptions, and an aching absence. Some were stolen in daring heists. Others were destroyed by fire, war, or human malice. A few simply vanished, the fates of these works remaining mysteries that haunt art historians to this day. As we explore these lost treasures, let yourself drift into the melancholy beauty of absence, the romance of the missing, the eternal question of what became of these irreplaceable works. So settle into comfort, let the world fade away, and join me as we search for 10 masterpieces that vanished without a trace. Let us begin our gentle journey into the shadows of art history. 1. The Storm on the Sea of Galilee by Rembrandt. Our journey begins on a dark night in Boston, March 18th, 1990. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum stood quiet in the pre-dawn hours when 2 men dressed as police officers knocked on the door. They claimed to be investigating a disturbance. The guards let them in. It was a fatal mistake. What followed was the greatest art theft in history. 13 works were stolen that night, including the only seascape by Rembrandt van Rijn, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, painted in 1633. Imagine this work in your mind's eye. A small vessel tosses violently on churning waves. 14 figures crowd the boat. The 12 disciples, Christ, and 1 additional person. Art historians believe this 14th figure is Rembrandt himself, inserting his own likeness into this biblical scene of terror and faith. The artist wanted to be there, to experience the storm, to witness the moment when Christ would calm the waters. The painting captures raw fear. You can almost hear the crack of wood, the roar of wind, the desperate shouts of men certain they are about to die. The disciples bail water frantically. One leans over the side, sick from the violent motion. In the chaos, Christ remains calm, about to perform a miracle. Today, if you visit the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, you will find empty frames hanging on the walls where the stolen paintings once lived. The founder of the museum, Isabella Stewart Gardner, stipulated in the will that nothing in the museum could be changed after the death of the founder, so the frames remain, haunting reminders of what was lost. The FBI has chased countless leads over 3 decades, yet the paintings remain missing. Some investigators believe they were destroyed. Others think they are hidden in a private collection where a criminal enjoys them in secret, unable to ever share them with the world. We lost more than a painting that night. We lost the exploration of faith under pressure by Rembrandt, the study of human fear confronting divine power. Somewhere in the world, this masterpiece may still exist, rolled up in a warehouse, hidden in a basement, waiting, or perhaps it is already gone forever, reduced to ash or scattered pieces. Take a moment to imagine that boat on those violent waves and know that somewhere this painting might still survive, waiting to be found. 2. Portrait of a Young Man by Raphael. We travel now to Poland during the darkest days of the Second World War. In the Czartoryski Museum in Krakow hung one of the finest portraits by Raphael, Portrait of a Young Man, painted around 1513 to 1514. The identity of the subject remains debated. Some believe it is a self-portrait of the young Raphael himself, gazing confidently out at the viewer with the self-assurance of genius. Picture a young man in his 20s, turned slightly to the side, but looking directly at you. His dark eyes are intelligent and alert. He wears a black cap and a dark coat with a white collar, the fashion of Renaissance Italy, but it is the expression that captivates, knowing, perhaps slightly amused, eternally young. Raphael technique demonstrates why he was considered one of the three masters of the High Renaissance. The sfumato, that soft blending of tones, gives the face of the subject a lifelike quality. When German forces invaded Poland in 1939, Nazi leaders implemented a systematic program to steal the artistic treasures of Europe. Hans Frank, the Nazi governor of occupied Poland, claimed the portrait by Raphael for himself. As the war turned against Germany, Frank fled westward, taking the painting with him. In 1945, as Allied forces closed in, the painting vanished. Some believe the painting was destroyed in the chaos of the end of the war, burned, lost, or damaged beyond recognition. Others think it survived and was hidden by associates of Frank, perhaps still concealed in some Austrian mountain chalet or German estate. The painting remains lost. With this painting, we lost one of the finest examples of Renaissance portraiture. We lost the possible self-portrait of Raphael, who died at just 37. Let the lost presence of this man remind you of the fragility of beauty. 3. Nativity with Saint Francis and Saint Lawrence by Caravaggio. Our journey takes us to Palermo, Sicily, where Caravaggio painted one of his most moving works. Nativity with Saint Francis and Saint Lawrence hung above the altar from 1609 until October 1969, when thieves cut it from the frame and stole it into the night. Imagine this scene. The infant Jesus lies on a bed of straw, glowing with an inner light. Mary gazes down at her child with the tender wonder of a mother. Saint Francis kneels in adoration, his rough brown robes contrasting with the quiet dignity of the Holy Family. An angel hovers above, wings spread, playing a violin, as if the heavens themselves sing at this miraculous birth. Caravaggio painted this work during his final, fugitive years. He was fleeing murder charges, moving from city to city, painting masterpieces as he ran. The Nativity shows his genius at its peak. The dramatic use of light and shadow, and the ability to make sacred scenes feel human and immediate. On the night of October 17th to 18th, 1969, thieves entered the oratory, cut the painting from the frame, and vanished. For decades, the theft remained a mystery wrapped in silence. Mafia informants eventually revealed that the Sicilian Mafia had stolen the painting, ordered by a local boss as a trophy. Some say the thieves damaged it badly while removing it from the frame. One informant stated that the painting was fed to pigs after being damaged beyond repair, a claim that horrified the art world but has never been confirmed. Another said it is still intact, hidden in a Swiss bank vault, held as collateral for mob debts. We lost not just a painting, but a direct connection to the vision of Caravaggio, painted by his own hand during his final desperate years. We lost that glowing infant, that devoted mother, that celestial music of the angel frozen in paint. Even lost, the spirit of the painting survives in our memory and longing. 4. Poppy Flowers by Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh painted relatively few works of red poppies, those delicate, vibrant flowers that seem to glow with inner fire. One such painting, Poppy Flowers, from 1887, hung in the Mohammed Mahmoud Khalil Museum in Cairo until August 21st, 2010, when it vanished in broad daylight. Picture the characteristic bold brushstrokes of Van Gogh, creating a vase full of red poppies. The flowers seem alive, almost trembling with energy. You can see the process of Van Gogh in every mark, the way he mixed colors directly on the canvas, the way he built up texture and depth through layered paint. This painting represented the journey of Van Gogh toward his mature style. On a summer morning in Cairo, someone walked into the museum and simply took the painting off the wall. Security cameras were not working. They were being repaired. Guards were allegedly asleep or absent. The painting, worth an estimated $50 million, disappeared. Egyptian authorities were embarrassed by the ease of the theft. The museum security was revealed to be shockingly inadequate for the treasures it held. Some investigators believe it was stolen to order, that a wealthy collector commissioned the theft, and the painting now hangs in a private mansion, viewed only by the illegal owner. In 2021, Egyptian authorities announced they had located the painting in Kuwait, but then the story went silent. No recovery was confirmed. We lost one of the explorations of natural beauty by Van Gogh, a moment when he captured the fragile, brief life of poppies in permanent paint. Art theft experts say that most stolen art eventually resurfaces. It may take decades, but paintings are hard to hide forever. The poppy painting may yet return. Until then, imagine those red flowers, the swirling brushstrokes creating life and motion. Let the image of those poppies, symbols of sleep and dreams, carry you gently forward into rest. 5. The concert by Johannes Vermeer. We return to that fateful night in Boston, March 18th. Among the 13 works stolen was perhaps the most precious, the concert by Johannes Vermeer. Painted around 1664, Vermeer only painted about 35 works in his entire lifetime. Each is a masterpiece of light, color, and domestic intimacy. The concert showed 3 figures making music together in a sunlit room. A young woman sits at a harpsichord, playing. A man stands beside her, singing. Another woman, seen from behind, listens or perhaps sings along. Vermeer magical light streams through an unseen window, illuminating the figures with that characteristic glow that makes his paintings seem to radiate from within. When the thieves took the concert, they cut it from the frame with crude efficiency. They did not care about damaging it. They just wanted it off the wall quickly. The painting was rolled up and taken out into the night, never to be seen again. The concert is considered the most valuable stolen painting in the world, with estimates ranging from $200 million to impossible to calculate cultural worth. Everyone involved in the original theft is likely dead by now, and the paintings have probably changed hands multiple times. In the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, an empty frame still hangs where the concert once lived. We lost a perfect moment, captured in paint. We lost the incomparable light of Vermeer, his ability to make ordinary scenes luminous with meaning. We lost the sound of that harpsichord, the harmony of those voices, the intimacy of friends making music together in a sunlit room. Let the image of those 3 musicians drift through your mind, making harmony together, frozen in an eternal moment that now exists only in photographs and memory. 6. Portrait of a Lady by Gustav Klimt in February 1997 in the Ricci Audi Modern Art Gallery in Italy. Workers discovered that the painting Portrait of a Lady by Gustav Klimt had been replaced with a cheap copy. The real masterpiece was gone. Gustav Klimt painted this portrait in 1916 to 1917, near the end of his life. It shows a young woman in profile, her face turned to the left, wrapped in the characteristic decorative style of Klimt. The features of the lady are delicate and serene. The theft was not discovered immediately. The fake painting had fooled casual observers. Only when workers needed to move it for an exhibition did they realize something was wrong. The investigation revealed troubling security gaps. The alarm system of the gallery was outdated, and cameras were minimal. In December 2019, nearly 23 years after the theft, gardeners working on the exterior of the gallery found something extraordinary. Hidden inside an exterior wall, in a small access space, was a black garbage bag. Inside was the missing Klimt, remarkably well preserved despite the decades in hiding. The painting had apparently been hidden in this wall cavity all along. Art experts examined the recovered painting carefully. Aside from some minor damage to the frame, it was in surprisingly good condition. The painting was restored and returned to public display, ending one of the strangest disappearance stories in art history. The recovery of this painting is rare among art thefts. Most stolen works never return, but this Klimt came home after more than 2 decades, hidden in a wall, waiting. Let the patient face of this lady carry you into peaceful rest, knowing that what is lost might yet return. 7. View of the Sea at Scheveningen by Vincent van Gogh. On December 7th, 2002, 2 paintings by Vincent van Gogh were stolen from the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. The thieves used a ladder to climb to the roof, broke in through a window, and took view of the sea at Scheveningen and congregation leaving the Reformed Church in Nieuweinen. View of the sea at Scheveningen shows a Dutch beach scene from 1882, early in the career of Van Gogh. The sky is turbulent with clouds, the sea dark and churning. Actual grains of sand became embedded in the paint, permanent witnesses to the moment of creation. The museum security was supposed to be excellent, but the thieves found a weakness. The stolen paintings were worth millions, but more importantly, they were part of human heritage. The break in the case came from an unexpected source, information from the Italian mafia. In 2016, 14 years after the theft, Italian police raided a farmhouse near Naples. There, wrapped in cloth and hidden in a cabinet, they found both Van Gogh paintings. When experts examined the recovered paintings, they found them damaged but restorable. In 2017, they returned to public display at the Van Gogh Museum. Those grains of sand embedded in the paint survived the theft, the years in hiding, and the journey home. They are still there, permanent witnesses to the process of Van Gogh. Imagine that wild coast, the gray sky and churning sea. Feel the wind that Van Gogh felt carrying sand into wet paint. The painting survived to tell the story. 8. Nativity Scene by Correggio. Antonio da Correggio, working in Renaissance Italy during the early 16th century, created luminous paintings of religious scenes. One of his nativity-themed works vanished during World War II, lost in the chaos of conflict and Nazi looting. Correggio was a master of light. His paintings seemed to glow from within, as if divine radiance emanates from the subjects. In the nativity scenes by the artist, the infant Christ is the source of illumination, bathing Mary, Joseph, shepherds, and angels in celestial light. There is an intimacy to the religious scenes by Correggio. These are warm, human moments of wonder and love. During World War II, Nazi forces systematically looted art across occupied Europe. Hermann Goering alone amassed thousands of stolen artworks for his country estate. In the chaos of the end of the war, much of this stolen art was hidden, lost, or destroyed. The Nativity work by Correggio vanished during the occupation of Italy and the subsequent fighting. Some records suggest it was taken by retreating German forces. Other accounts indicate it may have been destroyed in bombing or fires that consumed entire buildings. Today, the status of the painting remains missing, presumed lost, or it may survive somewhere in a forgotten storage facility, in a sealed bunker, or in a private collection whose owner does not know or does not care about the provenance. We lost the vision of the sacred by Correggio, the mastery of light, and the ability of the artist to make the divine feel intimate and human. Let the lost light of Correggio float through your consciousness. That glow he painted around the Christ child, illuminating a dark world. 9. The Just Judges by Jan van Eyck, the Ghent altarpiece, completed by Jan and Hubert van Eyck in 1432, is one of the most important artworks in Western history. One panel has been missing since 1934, the Just Judges. The Just Judges panel showed noble figures on horseback riding toward the central scene. They were thought to include portraits of the Van Eyck brothers themselves, making the panel doubly precious. On the night of April 10th to 11th, 1934, a thief broke into the cathedral in Ghent, Belgium, and removed the Just Judges panel. Soon, ransom letters arrived. The thief demanded payment and made threats. The writer seemed cultured, even playful, treating the theft as a game or intellectual challenge. Years later, on his deathbed, a man named Arsène Gaudertier made a cryptic confession to having knowledge of the location of the panel. He died before fully explaining, leaving only ambiguous hints. Investigators searched everywhere. Gaudertier had connections: the home, the office, and various properties. Nothing was found. The panel had vanished as if it never existed. In 1945, a Belgian artist painted a replica to fill the empty space in the altarpiece. Every visitor can see the difference. The replacement is flatter, less alive, a copy trying to fill an unfillable void. We lost the self-portraits of the Van Eyck brothers, the faces of these men erased from history. We lost those just judges on their horses, riding eternally toward worship, now riding through darkness. Close your eyes and imagine those judges painted with the miraculous detail of Van Eyck. Let them carry you gently into the night. 10. Portrait of a Young Man by Modigliani. We conclude our journey with Amedeo Modigliani, the Italian artist whose elongated portraits caused scandal in early 20th century Paris. One such work vanished in May 2010 when 5 paintings were stolen from the Paris Museum of Modern Art in what was called the theft of the century. Picture the characteristic vision of Modigliani, a young man with an impossibly elongated face, almond-shaped eyes without pupils, gazing with mysterious intensity. Modigliani painted souls, not just faces. He stretched and refined his subjects to show the essential nature, the inner life of the person made visible. In the early hours of May 20th, 2010, a lone thief broke into the Paris Museum of Modern Art. The security systems had been malfunctioning for weeks. The thief knew this. The crime was carefully planned. He removed 5 masterpieces from the frames, works by Picasso, Matisse, Braque, Leger, and Modigliani. The total value of the 5 paintings exceeded $100 million. French police tracked down the thief, a man named Vacheron Tomic, known as Spider-Man for his climbing abilities. He confessed to the theft, but claimed he had given the paintings to a fence who was supposed to sell them. One of the accomplices told investigators he had become frightened by the massive police response and had thrown all 5 paintings into a garbage dumpster where they were presumably destroyed. Investigators searched the landfill but found nothing. Keeping them hidden forever serves no purpose. Tragic as it is, destruction makes sense in a botched crime where the thieves panicked. With this Modigliani and the 4 other works, we lost masterpieces of modern art. We lost the vision of Modigliani, of that young man immortalized in a lost portrait, his elongated face and soulful eyes existing only in photographs and memory. Each lost painting in the journey tonight represents a broader truth. Art is fragile, and survival is never guaranteed. We become a little poorer, a little more disconnected from the chain of creativity that makes us human when a masterpiece vanishes. Yet the stories persist. We remember the paintings. We maintain hope that the lost might be found. And so, dear friends, we reach the end of our search for shadows and absences, for paintings that exist now only in memory and longing. These 10 lost masterpieces remind us that nothing lasts forever, that even genius captured in paint can vanish into darkness. But they also remind us of the power of art, that we care so deeply about these losses, and that we never stop searching. Some of the lost paintings tonight may yet be found. Others are truly gone, the atoms scattered, the light extinguished. But in a sense, they survive in photographs, in descriptions, and in the stories we tell. Tell us if you have ever seen any of these paintings before they vanished, or if you know other stories of lost art that fascinate you. Until next time, may you treasure the beauty around you, knowing it is more fragile than we like to admit. May you seek what is lost and celebrate what is found. And may your dreams be filled with masterpieces, both seen and unseen, present and absent, remembered and eternal. Sleep well, dear friends, and remember, even vanished paintings cast shadows that we can trace in the darkness. Good night.